From then on, I would have to share Annette, my wife, with Kavanaugh, my best friend. The public had lost interest in the documentaries we were bringing back from the Antipodes. All those journeys, those countries where they had monsoons, earthquakes, amoebas, and virgin forests, had lost their charm for me. Had they ever had any? Days of doubt and depression. I had 5 weeks' respite before dragging myself across Asia on the route followed by the 1931 car expedition across Central Asia. I cursed the members of that expedition, whose tire tracks I was obliged to discover. Never had Paris, the quai along the Seine, and the Place Blanche seemed so attractive. How stupid to leave all that once again. The memory of Ingrid was obsessing me, and I had spent the days before my departure in noting down everything I knew about her, which is to say not much. After the war, Rigaud and Ingrid had lived in the Midi for 5 or 6 years, but I had no information about that period. Then Ingrid had gone to America, without Rigaud. She had gone with a film producer. This producer had wanted her to be an extra in a few unimportant films. Rigaud had joined her. She had abandoned the producer and the cinema. She had again separated from Rigaud, who went back to France, and she had spent more years in America, years about which I knew nothing. Then she had returned to France and Paris, and some time later to Rigaud, and we were coming to the time when I had met them on the Saint Raphael road. I found it distasteful to read all my notes 10 years later. It was as if someone else had written them. For instance, the chapter entitled The American Years. Was I definitely sure that they had loomed so large in her existence? With time, this episode took on a trivial and almost ridiculous aspect, but when I wrote these notes I was more susceptible to irrelevances and glitter, and I didn't go straight to the nub. How childish it was of me to have cut out from a 1951 magazine a color photo of the Champs-Élysées at night, in summer, under the pretext that it was in the summer of 1951, on one of the terraces in the avenue, that Ingrid had made the acquaintance of the American producer. I had attached this document to my notes to give a better feeling of the atmosphere in which Ingrid lived when she was 25. The sun umbrellas and the cane chairs on the terraces, the look of a seaside resort that the Avenue des Champs-Élysées still had then, the softness of the Paris evenings that suited her youth so well, and the name I had noted, Alexandre d'Arc, an old Frenchman from Hollywood, the man who, that evening, had introduced Ingrid to the producer because he accompanied him on all his trips to Europe and was given the job of seeing that he met what in those days they called young persons. Among my notes was another document that I'd thought necessary to Ingrid's biography, a photo of the American producer discovered by chance during my researches. This photo had been taken during a gala evening in a Florida casino. Some gymnasts were performing on a stage in the middle of the room, and all of a sudden the producer, wanting to impress Ingrid, had got up from the table and taken off his dinner jacket, bow tie, and shirt. Stripped to the waist, he had climbed up onto the stage and, in front of the flabbergasted gymnasts, grabbed hold of the trapeze. The photo showed him hanging from the trapeze, his chest thrust out, his stomach held in, his legs at right angles. He was very short, and he wore a mustache that followed the line of his lip, which reminded me of distant childhood memories. His jaws clenched,